Hello and welcome to Diamonds and Duds, episode 25.
I'm Charles Baker.
I'm Ivan Baker, and one might call this a very special episode.
Yeah. Very special. Episode 25, we've been doing this for 25 episodes, a little over a year.
Yeah, a little over a year. We've had a couple, what do you call it, extra episodes put in there too, but I can't believe this has been a year.
Yep. So, what do we got planned for us for episode number 25?
We have a special episode, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Son of a fucking bitch.
Now, do you want to explain, Charles, how they were able to do Blood and Honey?
Yeah. So, first of all, a couple of things that'll inform kind of some of my thoughts. One is I am a lifelong Winnie the Pooh fan. Okay. And I mean lifelong. When I was a baby, my parents had what was it? The things above the cribs that
Yep.
mobiles. That was Winnie the Pooh. That was Winnie the Pooh. So even through high school, I mean, I've always loved Winnie the Pooh. One thing that is not, and this movie is really, in terms of this, is a gray area. I personally am not a fan of, in some of the ways, areas of public domain. I believe that certain things, and in fairness, Winnie the Pooh does fall into the former. I believe certain things like, when your creator is dead, books, Frankenstein, Dracula, the monsters, they're dead. Like, the creators are dead. Public domain, all that stuff's fine, which technically the Winnie the Pooh characters fall into that because they were books first. But where I don't like public domain is when, like, for example, Superman, unless DC folds completely, Superman should never be in the public domain. Same thing with Disney characters. And yes, Winnie the Pooh is Disney, but no, they're books first, and I get it. They're capitalizing. But since then, these directors, there's been, and they're taking advantage of what's there. So you can't really fault them. But public domain has been used as a weapon against Disney, and Steamboat Willie, Bambi. Peter Pan falls into the form.
I think part of this is when they set these laws up a long, long time ago, they never anticipated, like, they didn't think this far ahead. And my assumption is that Superman, like, DC's never going to let Superman fall into public domain. Unless something crazy happens, they're going to make sure they do whatever they can that some random person can't just make a big budget.
Yeah, and really what it was, and the fight's over now, but the reason why a couple of the Disney, like Steamboat Willie, became public domain is because when Disney was battling with Florida people there, they used it as a weapon, and so they started releasing. But I agree, and again, it doesn't, like, these characters it doesn't really fall there. I do have a general issue. I do think that Winnie the Pooh falling, as we'll talk about in this movie, I do think it being declared in public domain did affect this movie's quality, because I think the directors rushed the shit out of,
I think so too.
But without ado, let's go ahead and get into the movie proper. This came out in 2023. And this is a horror. For those if there's any other Winnie the Pooh fans out there, I mean, you probably heard of this movie. There's a whole Pooh-universe now, but it's a twisted horror take on Winnie the Pooh. After Christopher Robin abandons them for college, Pooh and Piglet embark on a bloody rampage as they search for a new source of food. And so that's the synopsis there. What do you got?
What I went and looked at it on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It got a 97% favorable.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It got a 3% favorable by the critics, which I think
high, right? That's high. That's a little high, I think.
And it got 49% by the fans.
I can.
I can get that because, like, for the critics, it's like they're pulling in the data. For the fans, someone has to go there to, like...
Yeah.
And normally on this kind of stuff, the fans is always, like, pretty high.
Yeah. 49 is pretty low, to be honest.
That's what I mean, yeah.
49 is really low.
49% is pretty low. It's directed by Reese.
Drugs are bad, folks.
Reese Frake Waterfield. Yeah. And he has a couple more of these not just the, what do you call it? He has 2 other public domain properties.
Yeah, it's all the Bambis.
Bambi the Reckoning.
Peter Pan's.
The Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare.
And if that's another one, like the Peter Pan's another one like Winnie the Pooh. Peter Pan was a book first. Long, like it was a book like it went through like 4 different adaptations before Disney even did a movie on it. But yeah, they're all part of Poohniverse. They're doing a movie where it's all of them together, which is I will not be watching.
Normally, what I like to try and do is find a fun what do you call it, critics' take on the movie, and I'll say, there's not a lot of fun critics.
Probably not.
I think most of the critics just flat out refuse to watch this shit.
Yeah.
No one expects nuance from a slasher, but this film is criminally lazy and misogynistic.
Yep. Folks, if you watch this movie, and this is not me being hyperbolic, I truly believe this is deserved. If you watch this movie and you see mostly, like if you see in public an actor that performed in this movie, with one exception, just come up to them and apologize for what they've been through. With one exception, if you see Christopher Robin, you need to put him in the hospital. The actor, that person, Christopher Robin, is the worst anything has ever been on screen in the history of time. And we'll do our normal kind of like synopsis and then go through the movie. The one thing, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this, Charles. The one thing I found something very perplexing in this movie. Yes, the acting is bad. Okay. The thing I found perplexing was the set design and like the special, like how they're doing the horror, like the set, like the feet, like how the movie felt out, like, and I'm not talking about like when Pooh and Piglet were on screen. Yeah,
but I'm talking about like when they're just simply showing the backwoods and that was well done. I will say I found that very confusing for a movie this shitty because it looks like they spent all of their budget on making like the woods creepy and the smoke effects when they used them okay, and then they spent $5 on a Pooh mask they found at the dollar store.
Yeah,
because I'm not saying this could have ever been a good movie. Don't get me wrong, Chuck, but like I'm probably, of the two of us, I'm probably the bigger horror fan.
Yeah,
like of this kind of horror stuff, as well as our sister Rita absolutely loves stuff like this. This could have been a cult classic if they had spent a little bit, like if they had spent a little bit on a better story, obviously, and had done Pooh and Piglet in a fun way. It could have been, and I'm not saying it ever could have been like Scream but like I think you might be right that they just sort of rushed this shit out.
And I'm going to go one step further than you. I think the concept, as we'll get to it, in terms of like the film, some of the film itself, I don't necessarily agree in terms of the quality of. I will say there's some things that are better. Those things were better than other parts of the movie.
Yeah,
I have, but there's some major issues I have. But the concept of the movie, I think the idea of Pooh and Piglet going feral, I think. The concept, if properly executed, could have been far beyond a cult classic. Yeah. It could have been a fantastic horror movie. However, so basically what happens, Pooh and Piglet, not all the 100 Acre... Why
don't we kind of kick
yeah. So what we start off with, it first of all, there's an animated opening thing, which, okay, this to me was the best part of the movie.
No, yeah, they did this part really well.
Yeah.
And I think they should have, like... inserted some more of this in whenever they did they should have done some flashbacks. Yeah. And when they did flashback stuff, it should have been in this animated stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the animated basically would have said, hey, Christopher Robin, basically Christopher Robin's there, shows him the cuddle. We don't really get much. We get some pictures. We don't get much of the other animals because some of the animals right now, obviously they want to save some for sequels, but they didn't have the rights to all of them because not all the Pooh characters appeared in the first book.
That was going to be one of my questions for you because I purposely didn't look any of this stuff up. because they have Pooh and Piglet, who are the main stars. They mention Eeyore.
Yep.
They mention Owl.
Yep.
And they mention Rabbit.
Yeah, those are the one. See, because basically there were a series of books. The first book entered public domain, and they went from script to starting to write a script to done filming in like a week or something like that. They half-assed it.
It sounds like, and I don't want to put words in their mouth. It sounds like they were worried that this was going to get overturned, and they just sort of rushed something.
I don't, because with books like there's these
or the public domain.
Yeah. Well, but those are pretty extended because Disney had no leg to stand on there, because like Dracula and Frankenstein have been public domain forever. Anyone who wants to make a Frankenstein or Dracula movie, it's because it's books. Because the creators are long dead.
Yeah, which makes me wonder why the rush.
Exactly. They just wanted to be the first 7, and those characters were the ones that are in the first Winnie the Pooh books. The other ones, Tigger, Kangaroo, they came.
Gopher.
They came later. I don't know if Gopher was ever in the books.
Because I remember wasn't Gopher in that? Was it a cartoon or
he was in the
non-cartoon thing we used to watch on Disney?
Yeah, he was also in he was in the original Disney movie. I can't tell you what he was in.
He might be a Disney kid.
Yeah, he might. I'm not sure. But the big, especially like Tigger was not public domain yet.
Which makes sense, because obviously if he was, they would have.
Yeah, I don't know if Kangaroo were. They just decided not to use him yet. But Tigger, I know from when Tigger was not available to them yet.
No.
Would be soon, but Tigger just in that moment was not, which makes sense. You can save Tigger for a sequel.
Because basically the cartoon thing my brother mentioned a little bit, they kind of outlined the stuff that you would be familiar with Pooh. That, Christopher Robin finds him out in the woods. They're his best friends growing up. They kind of skip past the whole teenage years, and then I think they also missed out on something where they could, and I thought this is what the angle they were going to take, was that they mentioned that part of the reason Pooh and Piglet went feral was that Christopher Robin abandoned. And I thought that was also an interesting take they could have taken, because basically what it is that Christopher Robin was their source of food and stuff.
Yeah.
For let's say college age, 18, 19, something like that. So figure probably 10, 15 years or so. Their sole amount of food and sustenance was this kid bringing them crap. And the fact that he then abandons them for college, I think, is an interesting, because I thought they were positioning it as who's the bad guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Are Pooh and Piglet really bad, or were they simply driven to this?
Yeah,
but the writers and directors are way too fucking lazy.
No, and I think that there was mishap, because having them say that he was their sole source of food was pretty damn idiotic. Because they're in the woods.
Well, and also especially if they're not gonna use that at all.
Yeah, they're the fact of the matter is they're in the woods. There's other animals and grasses, crap in the woods. They're sources of food. And so basically, what they should have simply done is you could have had everything be the same. It's just you change a few of the wordings in it, saying that they had a mental break when Christopher Robin abandoned them. Don't tie it to food. Then they still went crazy and still ate Eeyore, which gave into their, as they said in the movie, their animalistic, cannibalistic tendencies, like they said in the movie. Although when they said that was a lie. One of my biggest issues with this movie.
Well,
because they said, because they gave in, basically, they ate Eeyore because they were starving. They ate Eeyore when they're starving, and it had them embrace their animalistic. And it says, eating Eeyore, basically, because they're supposed to be half human, half animals. And they gave up their human side. They decided they weren't going to talk anymore. That they talked, but they stopped talking. Except for one line that Pooh has at the end of the movie, but they embrace their animal instincts again, which is a lie.
And the thing I didn't understand is that they made, and we hope you don't. but the thing I don't understand is that they really hammer home also they're embracing, as my brother said incorrectly, they're animalistic. Why did they focus so much on them not talking anymore?
Yeah.
They could have just had him not talk.
Would you like to know why?
Why?
Because I can tell you why. The reason why is that because they spent 20 cents, roughly, on the Piglet mask and the Pooh mask. And those masks could not move at all. And so they wrote it so that they couldn't talk. So because that's which is stupid.
No, which is stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, why do they make a big deal about them mentioning to decide not to talk?
I don't know.
Because there's a lot of shit they do in this movie that I think as a fan of fun slasher movies, I thought they were, because my brother will attest, I never see shit coming in movies, and that's what I love about myself, watching stuff. But I do from the kind of, like, the other thing I thought they were doing was that I thought they were going to position that, like, because we'll get to this point at some point, but, like, the girls that go to the cabin stop at that, what do you call, gas station.
Yeah.
And one of the big things I think they were thinking of doing was having those guys in the gas station actually be Pooh and Piglet.
Yeah.
But, like, well, they make a point of having them look like them, and let's kind of dive in, because what it is that basically Robin takes his, they don't really explain it well. I think you're right. I think it's his fiance who thinks Robin's fucking crazy, because Robin talks about how he talked to animals and they were like his best friends, but like, her also thing would be like, hey, I believe you, but like, why haven't you like communicated with them in like 7 years?
Yeah, like, it's, again, I agree. Like, first off, like, from minute one, Christopher, yes, this is a horror movie.
He's an asshole.
He's an asshole. The bar for acting in these movies is low. However, he has a shovel and he digs 5,000 miles below the surface of the lowest bar ever in a horror movie. Look at this guy. The rest of the movie, they're all bad actors, but I don't blame them. They're bad. This person, again, the actor who played Christopher Robin, no one's ever been worse on a screen in their life. His accent's horrible. He's like you said, he's an asshole. He's absolutely incredulous that she doesn't believe him.
That he's incredulous. Whatever that word my brother said is that he's upset that his fiance does not believe him that there's talking animals in the 100-acre wood. And it's talking animals. And basically, they go in there, it's nighttime, it's creepy as shit. They end up getting attacked.
Yeah, but even though, before that, they get to basically, the old house. Christopher Robin walks right by the Eeyore's gravestone. That is a good he's facing in that direction. He either just doesn't notice it or doesn't give a shit. But it's not a hidden thing. It's clearly, because he wants the audience to see it, and he's
I'm not going to fault. Is my guess is that this was like, regardless of the take, you get two.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those movies where it's like, hey, you get like 2 takes, and they decided after they did that to put it. But and a question like I had here, like, why are there a bunch of abandoned vehicles in the middle of the woods with no roads? Like, we're in the middle of the forest, and there's like, it's like, the backyard with like a bunch of like half taken apart cars and stuff like that, like a junkyard. Why is there like a junkyard there? But then they get attacked. But like, even before, like Mary, the character like Mary, she gets scared shitless before there's any threat of any kind of attack. It's just a switch suddenly turns, and she's like pissing her pants scared because they're in a building. I'm like, I know Mary's right to be scared, but like literally nothing bad has happened yet. But I mean, she's the one who saw the therapist.
No, Mary died. That's an issue I have. They're not clear on this. Yes.
Who's Mary?
Mary's Christopher's.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Christopher's fiance.
No, see, I think they are. They're just bad at it. Yeah. I think she's supposed to be that skeleton.
Yeah, because she dies, and I think so basically they get attacked by Pooh and Piglet. She gets choked out while Christopher just fucking watches.
Yeah, he doesn't care, and he just sort of cries that, "Hey, Pooh, this isn't who you are. How would you know? You abandoned them like 6 fucking years ago."
Yeah, and then it goes to girl in therapy. One mistake they made is they made in casting. Now, I'm not saying like the lead-ish actress. They made, considering they just went from a sudden change from this happening to the girl in the therapy session about an unnamed thing that happened to her. Okay, the girl looks a lot like Mary.
Oh, yes. I
didn't realize until 20 minutes after this that it was a different character, and that Mary was dead.
That is also, like, the cast, and again, I don't blame the actresses for this at all, because I don't fault them at all for the acting in this, because I think this was like, hey, we just wrote these lines, you get 2 takes. I think it was that kind of shit. In early young actor and actress don't really get if they get something like this, you say yes, and it's just something funny if you become popular. Yeah. But it's like, but also, like, you need to, it has nobody. If you want a cat, well then dye their hair, or you do something to make them look different. And the one of the girls that looks different, they killed the 2 girls that look different immediately.
Yeah. So, and really good back to like when he's, the initial attack. The first, I had a real big issue with all the cinematography here. A bunch of shit that they did basically to make it really hard to see Pooh and Piglet. A lot of the times is throughout the movie, in a lot of periods, they would start flashing lights. Like a bunch, and it was really, really off-putting. Really, it was a couple things they did that made it really hard to see. Some other points in the movie, it was simply really, really dark, and you just couldn't see crap. I hated the flashing lights.
I didn't notice that as a bad, because I've watched a lot of these movies, and that's kind of a trope, especially the lower budget ones will do, especially, but like. The good lower budget ones like this know that they need to hide their shit. Yeah. And they know they need to hide their killer and how they look and all that. But like, we go to the woman who goes to the therapist, they have this kind of, it was a fine thing for the reason she was scared. But like, they didn't focus, like, it was just, a lot of this was just sort of thrown in. She had like a stalker that kind of drove her. That scared
tried
her.
To like rape her. We found out later in the movie.
Yeah, and tried to like rape her, that they mentioned later.
So Maria and her friends, basically they're going to go on a trip to kind of disconnect.
The therapist says you could get away, and so their idea of getting away is going into the middle of the woods at night.
Yeah. And we are not really given any time with any of these women, even the main character. Like most horror movies, like they give us a little bit about these characters, at least a trait for each one.
What they needed was like, and this wouldn't have cost a ton. They needed a car scene of them driving up, where like a camera in the car and them talking about something funny. The 5 of them in the car as they're driving up, just so like, we know the one has glasses. We know that 2 of them are in a relationship together, I think.
Yeah.
We know that there's the red-haired one. But, like, we don't know any of their names.
Nope.
We needed to have some sort of fun. Like, you needed to at least care about a couple of these characters. In these kind of movies, it doesn't have to be anything too extravagant. Yeah. You know what I mean? You needed to have, like, a 5-minute scene at most. When the gas station thing shouldn't have been as they're driving up, they stop at the gas station because they need it. Like, it shouldn't have been that. It should have been just a normal gas station. Yeah. They should have been just a normal Texaco or whatever the hell they have in England, because obviously this is in England. Yeah. Some sort of gas station where they just have something like music, like popular, some sort of music they can license, and just have them having a fun time there. Yeah. Because you needed to care about these, but you didn't, because by the time they start dying, you don't know who any of them are.
Nope, you don't. So pretty soon, so we get our first kill from one of them by Pooh. Pooh.
Is it the sixth one?
Huh?
Is it the sixth one?
I don't know which girl it was, but it was the first. It was.
But there was 6, right?
Yeah.
Because there's the one that also drives up on.
Yeah, this is the one that went separate. The one because
because there was the one that drove up separate.
Yeah. Exactly.
She dies first, right?
Yes, because it's in a barn. First of all, it's again very dark, very hard to see during this entire thing. Very good.
See, what I thought should have happened, Charles, was that during that Christopher Robin scene at the beginning, you shouldn't have seen Pooh or Piglet.
Yeah.
I think the first time you should have seen Pooh or Piglet is when they attacked the lady, and which we'll get to in a second. I think the first time you should have seen either one of them would have been with the hot tub scene. I think that should have been the first time you see, because you're also not that you're going to be scared in this kind of movie, but like you also needed to like have a couple potential for jump scares, and the fact that they were so eager to show you these shitty Pooh and Piglet masks that.
See, I think they should have gone in a slightly different direction. And I think, again, there's a way, this goes to the idea, there is a good idea in here. The way to make this movie actually have impact is they needed to make this movie shocking as fuck. They needed to go fucking shocking Human Centipede. Kind of thing.
Yes.
That's the way you do this. And I'll get, and like, for example, in here, when Pooh puts this.
Not Saw, but what was the horror one like around that time period? Wasn't there like an ultra gory horror movie around
Hostel.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
yes.
But like, cause like in this particular scene, it's the girl that drove up separate that they didn't. He ended up putting it through a wood chipper or something like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of off screen. You couldn't really tell what's going on. He Pooh rips off her shirt right away just so they can have gratuitous nudity. But I wrote here, is he trying to kill her or rape her? Okay, he was trying to kill her. Okay, he was trying to kill her or rape her, and they didn't make it. It's hard to see. I think if first of all, the wood chipper is, and again, this is a limited. The wood chipper is stupid. They should not have had any kills with weapons, items. That's all these kills are. Okay, they should have been eating live bodies. They should, and honestly. Yeah, they should have been eating live bodies and make it as gory as and chewing on the intestines while the person's still alive. That's what they should have done.
And you know what would have made it fun, Charles, too? Okay, I kind of wish I had said fun. But what they should have, roped in, or they should have had it somehow working with the.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the honey, like the honey is like
no, I know. Just you can't get enough honey, but just can't get enough body parts, can't get enough blood, but yet they went through a point of saying in the intro that these people that they gave up their human things and went animalistic. No, they didn't. He uses a wood chipper in this scene. He should have been ripping them apart. That's what you should have been shocking. Okay? Winnie the Pooh kills a character while driving a goddamn car in this movie. Yeah. While driving a goddamn car. So, it's just like, and this after this kill, I paused it. I'm like, fuck, how am I only 25 minutes in?
It's funny you say that. I had a couple of those, they needed to take their goddamn time writing because there was, and it doesn't have to be the idea. We're just throwing shit out there as we're watching it. But the next part is you have the 5 girls talking about Mariah's past. Yeah. Then this is the part that should have been in the car, because I think this was meant to be the part that gets people to care about it. But like everything else in this goddamn movie, it was dark. You couldn't see shit. You couldn't tell who was who. I don't remember where I got the next part, Charles. My next thing I wrote down is Pooh riding a bike.
That's the part that he was riding a bike, but he drove a car.
Let's skip that. I don't know where I got that from, but
but then we do get the Pooh in the lair where you see Christopher. Oh no, it wasn't Pooh. It was they're making basically Christopher Robin. Torture.
Okay.
He's basically.
Yeah, you know, because for some reason Pooh also has like this really long thing of hair.
That's Eeyore's tail.
Is that Eeyore's tail? Okay.
Yeah, that is the one moment in the movie that I thought was kind of cool when he starts whipping Christopher Robin with Eeyore's tail. No, that was the one part of the movie that I thought.
Now that I know that it's Eeyore, yes.
Yeah, it had a little bow. Yeah, it was Eeyore. It was Eeyore's tail.
My next thing I wrote down was, "Good Lord, this is graphic."
Oh, that must have been the blood shower thing.
Yeah.
That he did. But then soon enough after that, like Pooh and Piglet just kind of like wander into like, you know, so much of this movie takes place in houses, like and like they get the next kill because they're going to start.
Is the hot tub the next kill?
They start it because first they sneak up to her at the hot tub. Yeah, she gets out of it. And
that's Piglet. Right.
They're both there.
Okay, but it's like the red-haired one. They just apparently she decides she's going to go out into the hot tub because I think the director's horny.
Yes,
and they kill her out there. She does a bunch.
She doesn't die. She comes back later. Like Piglet took her back to the.
Oh, is that who comes back later?
Yeah, that's her.
But I don't think it is though, Charles. I don't, because they ran over her head with a car.
That was a different person. Okay,
no.
Okay, then yeah. Okay, so
that's a later thing. Yeah. That's what we're talking about, Charles.
Yeah.
Is Girl 7.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we don't know where Girl 7.
You know about the girl later who takes the gun because Charles, that girl, they don't know who she is.
Oh, okay. So they're okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, but so they first of all they're horning up on the girl in the hot tub. She ended up, and this is where like Pooh or Piglet, I forget which one. They get in a car. They're supposed to be bees. They're supposed to, and they they're driving like 5 miles an hour, slowly drive over this girl's head. And Kim, they're supposed to be bees. It takes like that. That's just fucking stupid. This is
maybe that is, but like the thing is, the bees don't kill. Like they run over her head, pops like a pumpkin.
Yeah, like I said, like we're again use their animal instincts, shred them apart, eat them while they're alive and their friends are watching. You know, this is just boring ass slasher kill. Yeah, so we got cut off a little bit. But as I was saying, this is just boring ass slasher kills. I mean, at one point, like one of them actually brandishes a knife. Like, I'm sorry, like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, they have fucking claws and shit. They shouldn't have knives. They shouldn't be using knives like Michael Myers.
After they kill the hot tub girl, they start realizing that we burned a lot of time in this movie.
Yeah,
we need to start killing people.
Yeah,
and so. They're like, hey, nobody knows who anybody is outside of Mariah. Who cares? And so then they start chasing him around, and like Mariah has a gun now.
Oh yeah, George. But then there's a whole pool killing sequence, which is kind of stupid.
Yeah, apparently there's a pool inside, and like Piglet has this like sledgehammer that I think one of the girls had at one point.
Yeah,
and he's like slowly walking towards her in the pool, and it's just.
And then just like the actor who played Piglet, I don't know if it was just him in general, like in his issues, or Charles, in the costume.
I have a problem with what you just said.
Actor, yeah.
You didn't use quotation marks.
Oh yeah, yes. The actor, quotation marks, who played Piglet, he can barely move. I mean, notice that, like, he can, like, literally barely move around. And that pool, yeah, she could have easily escaped that pool. Like, literally, it's a long pool.
I truthfully think it was like, good Lord, we don't have much time left, and we've only killed one of the core 5.
Yeah, they don't act. Pooh and Piglet do not act like animals at all for most of this movie.
No, and so now we're down to 3. Glasses Girl is with Mariah. They get the gun. At a certain point, I think what happened is that the creators went, "Oh fuck, we shouldn't have given the people getting stalked a gun.
Yep,
because they can just fucking kill Pooh and Piglet."
And that's what they did with Piglet.
And well, they killed Piglet, but then they're like, hey, we need to get the gun away from these three.
Yeah.
So let's institute, and tell us if I'm wrong, it feels like they just sort of then inserted a brand new girl. Because they said, oh yeah, she just showed up, and they started... They showed up, and the purpose of this girl was to take the gun away and then get killed.
Yep.
It's basically take the gun away, because I think the creators of someone wrote in that they had a gun because, hey, it makes logical sense. And like, hey, but then they're like, hey, if we're thinking about this logically, shouldn't they just fucking shoot Pooh? Yeah. But they're like, hey, we can't. We're only 45 minutes in. Yeah. And we want to do sequels. Yeah.
Piglet goes down so goddamn easily. He just gets blown away. And like, okay.
And then they just start beating him with that sledgehammer. I think. And it's like,
they're beating Pooh with a sledgehammer.
Okay.
But then,
that's the other problem. Is it was so goddamn dark. Ivan sometimes had trouble figuring out who was who.
Oh, same. So much of this. There's several times throughout my notes I wrote it can't see shit. This is where Pooh uses a knife and stabs somebody in the head. Like, fuck. So lame.
So I think we're down to the two people now, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. They leave. They leave in the car, and then they must have realized. Oh, well, we don't think our body count's high enough.
Yeah, our body count's not high enough. We had those guys that probably were like 40 miles away that were at the gas station. Why don't we just have them show up in the backwoods?
Yeah, and please note, at this point, I clocked it. There's 12 when they're reintroduced. There's 12 minutes left in this movie, and I'm like, okay. And so Pooh dispatches them all really easily. It's like the worst fight scene ever.
No, and it's like it was choreographed by a 3-year-old that was blind. Yeah. And I have no problem with someone.
It's the two girls on Christopher Robin's with them. Yeah, I mean, and they put Pooh, they crash it. Pooh basically gets put through it gets hit the end of the car, but he survives. The last of the basically he kills the last girl and then kind of leaves Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin's like, why? You know, why? And it's the one line that Pooh says in the movie, because you left.
Because I think that's supposed to be a big deal, but let's be honest, Charles. If you're only half paying attention, like Ivan was at the time, you know when I found out that Pooh talked?
I spoke. Yes. Okay, so interesting. This movie, and I'm just going to spoil just a little bit about the sequel. Not much. No. So if you're going to see the sequel, this is in terms of concept. This is not something. This is not really a story beat per se. It's just how they frame the first movie. This movie is so bad at a level that even bottom dollar bin horror movie franchises cannot continue. That in the sequel, this movie is a movie. In the sequel, basically these events happened, and apparently Christopher Robin's the only person that's fine. Apparently Christopher Robin decided to make fucking money off this, and this is a movie, a terrible movie, which allowed them to recast Christopher Robin, allowed Piglet to not be dead. And I'm sure, but yeah, so this movie is so bad that the sequel framed as Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was a movie. Was a movie. It was a very, very bad movie. So I will give them the littlest credit for that. I will not be seeing any more in the Pooh-niverse.
You don't want to see in both?
No, I looked up out of curiosity to see which animals, showed up, in the future ones, and it looks like between planned ones and ones that have already happened, everyone but Eeyore,
You're ready.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's going to come. But God, so what was... Okay, so time to figure out if this is a diamond or a dud.
Okay, do you want to explain our system?
Yeah. So first off, diamond, we have two scales, basically. Diamonds, if it's a diamond, it's a legitimately good movie from, from 1 to 5, 0 to 5, and the higher it is, the more it's the more rewatching, one of the great 5's one of the great movies. 1, 0, 1, all right, it's all right, but Probably won't revisit. Dud is it's a bad movie, but there are levels within that. A dud of a 5 is like so bad it's good. It's like guilty pleasure. And then all the way down is like, oh God, shit, burn my eyes out. So what was this one for you?
This was, you're going to be shocked. This was a dud.
Yeah.
My memory's going in my old age, so I don't remember a ton of them that I've given in the past.
Yeah.
There's always room for worse. I would say a 0.5.
I'm also a dud. I don't think there's necessarily room for worse, but there's room for ties. This is a 0. This is a 0 for me. It's a shit movie. It's a dud. There's no positives. I actually wrote at the end, the last thing I wrote in my notes is the actor who played Christopher Robin should actually literally be charged with a crime for his bad acting. Like, he should have been arrested and charged. Probably a misdemeanor.
It also could have happened. England has weird crime.
Fair enough. But yeah, so that's, yeah.
Well, thank you all for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. Our next one, I think, Charles, let's do something a little bit happier.
Yeah, a little bit different genre, I think, maybe.
A little bit different genre. We're going to jump on the bandwagon and do, what is it?
K-pop Demon Hunters.
All right. See y'all in the next one.
Adios. Bye.